Hopping on today to talk about a topic about intuition and maybe why your intuition is blocked. And so today we want to talk about how to clear the noise fast when your intuition feels blocked and you're not sure what your next move or your next step is going to be. Quite frankly, I face that still daily, and then I always have to pause. And this is the thing that I want to share with you, is because many times when our intuition feels blocked, we go into blame and judgment and things like that. And this is exactly what I want to help you with today. So that's what we'll be talking about today. I am on a little bit early to allow some people to pop in and join. So I'm hoping to have some questions here today. So if you're watching this recording, I would love to hear your thoughts about that. Does your intuition get blocked? And what are you actually doing that that you feel your intuition is getting blocked? Are you trying to do something creative? Are you trying to use your voice? Are you just speaking one-on-one to someone? Or are you speaking in groups? How is this showing up for you? So welcome. Today is November 23rd. I'm actually doing this live remote today. We just thought we'd have a little fun and just go remote and sit somewhere and enjoy the beautiful weather here in Encinitas. Wait, what is the town called? Encinitas, California. So if you're in California, you're enjoying this weather with me today too. All right, great. So I'm going to go ahead. It is now 10 o'clock. I'll go ahead and start 10 a.m. PST. So I'm going to go ahead and start the training that I have for you today. But what happens? Like every intuitive person, being an intuitive person doesn't mean that you're constantly in flow all the time. It's still a muscle that we have to work through so that we can allow it to become effortless. Because here's the thing. Even though we've had proof and evidence of having intuition and having flow, and sometimes it feels fluid, it feels like it's just coming out and you're like, hey, did I just say that? Which that always feels really great. But if it doesn't always flow that way, it is only because our humanness is kind of getting in and interjecting with fear and with judgment and all these things that really hold us back from taking that step forward. So sometimes we think that because our intuition is blocked and because we don't have the fluidity in what we're trying to share, that maybe that's a sign that we shouldn't be doing it, or maybe it's bad timing, or maybe the universe isn't laying it out perfectly for you. But the truth is that it's really important in our humanness that we experience the trial and errors and we learn from the trial and errors so that we can continue to build the skill. Because if everything's going perfectly, we don't have to think about anything. We don't have to worry about anything, which is nice. But when we need to do a little extra bringing in of the masculine energy, then this is when we may get a little thrown off kilter, because feminine energy is in flow. But in order to get things done, sometimes we have to pull in some masculine energy. And the balance between the two is what helps to make all of it flow more often, and all of it to come into us a little more fluidly and more often and right on time when we need it. So it's absolutely an exercise. It is something that takes time to develop, to get to that fluid, on point, on time, every time. And for right now, as you're developing it, your intuition will come in spurts, so that you can see the evidence that you have it and you have that capability within you to do it. The universe wants you to see the evidence that it is in your being to be intuitive and to be in flow, right? So, but with that, our human pokes out a little bit and kind of, shows us a little different pathway and gets our brain thinking in different ways had we not had the struggle. So let's talk about that a little bit. I see we have a couple people online here and I can't quite see the comments, but I would love to hear from you if you feel this, leave a comment and I can always get back to those later and respond to you. But if you've had this before where you're like, wow, I'm in flow, where did that come from? Where is this information coming from? It isn't something that I would always normally say, right? And then there are times where you wish you had the right words. So tell me if that's you, if that's something that you've ever felt before. So I'm in California, and I'm actually from the Midwest. Thanks, Flipper J9, for the question. Where are you from? Where are you calling or signing in from on this YouTube Live? I'd love to hear. So is this something you resonate with? Is this something that you would like to develop more and have more in your life? Oh, from Texas. We visited Texas. We are actually full-time RVers, so we travel across the United States. And right now we're in California, but we've been to Texas numerous times. Love it there. So is this you? The noise that keeps you from hearing your own intuition. The noise meaning our humanness, our brain wants to interject with fear, but then also there are learned, conditioned things that we've learned from people that love and care about us, right? But then they want to interject their opinion about what you have going on in your world, right? What's going on in your world is from your own experience and your own perspective and your own belief system. But our loved ones sometimes want to give their opinion, which is wonderful. We want people to express themselves, but it doesn't mean that we always have to take it in. And sometimes that type of interference, I'll say, not to sound negative, but it is a little bit of an interference in your flow of what you're doing. Sometimes that will come in, and that's all a part of the journey of acceptance of what we have going on around us. And with that and through that, we're always learning through that as well. So I want to talk a little bit about the 3 types of intuition blockers. I just mentioned one that is a small piece of this, but one intuition blocker is emotional static, right? And that shows up in what I talked about in brief earlier. It shows up as baggage that we were holding on from other experiences that created a resonance within our body and created an emotional response to that thing that's happening. So in this, when we have emotional static, you can't hear your intuition through that. You can't hear it, you can't feel it, you can't sense it. We have all kinds of senses that we're working with when we're working with our intuition. One is audible, right? You can't hear it, you can't sense it, feel it in your body. That's the resonance. And we can't feel it. We don't have a knowing about what's to come next. And that gets... Hi there, Roblox, cool. Nice to have you on. Thanks for hopping on. We're talking about intuition blockers. So when we are... Oh, thank you so much. I hope you've joined the lives before. We have lives every Friday and Sunday, and today I'm in a remote location and just thought I would go ahead and do the live outside today because it's a beautiful day in California. So with emotional static, the other part of emotional static, I talked about the senses, what we have going on, but also our internal emotions, right? So if you're someone that identifies as an emotional person, your emotions can run really, really high and really, really low. And when that happens, that becomes a blocker. So one of the things that I teach in Flowstate Manifesting is how to regulate our nervous system so that we can even out our emotional ride, our emotional wave. If we're riding really high on emotions, we want to kind of wait just and give it a little bit of time and take some deep breaths so that we can calm back into a level emotional regulated state. And the same thing when it's really, really low. Say something that has happened in the past, the feelings are coming up again, you have a thought or an old memory, right when you're trying to go into your intuitive flow, maybe you're trying to show up live and be visible or use your voice, and then all of a sudden you have this inner voice that comes in from some conditioning in the past. And all of these are intertwined in emotional static. The next thing I want to talk about which is the second emotional, our intuition blocker. The second intuition blocker is nervous system noise. If your body, many of us know if we're prone to flight, fight, freeze, or fawn. Now, I am someone that's typically gone into fawn mode. Like, I wanted to people please the people around me, and I would respond based off of that. Or freeze. Freeze is another one that was very common to me also. So let me know in the comments, is it a typical thing for you to go into fight, flight, freeze, or fawn? This is another nervous system noise where we're automatically responding from our nervous system. So we don't have a thought, we don't have an old memory, we don't have a triggered conditional response like overtly obvious, right? When it's coming from the nervous system is very quiet and subtle. It just initiates the interruption in our intuition, right? So it's a very nuanced thing, a very subtle thing, but very, very real. And then the third intuition blocker is mental overdrive. So mental overdrive is when we're overtly in our head about something. We're completely in our head, and all we're thinking about is how is this going to look? Am I saying the right thing? Am I doing the right thing? I could have said that better. I could have done that better. So which blocker comes up for you most? Number one, the emotional static. Your emotions are kind of taking over, either really high or really low emotions, or a visceral response from a memory that you have, and you know exactly what that memory is, or the nervous system, where nervous system noise is not very noisy. It's actually very subtle and very quiet, and you don't even know why you're responding that way. You don't know why you're freezing. You don't know why you're not able to use your voice. You just know that in that moment, you've gone completely blank and you can't think of what to say. And then the third one being the mental overdrive. Do you go in your head? Do you have all these thoughts and critical judgments of yourself? So let me know in the chat if you are a 1, 2, or 3. So with this teaching on these, knowing these 3 blockers, what I want to talk about now is what intuition actually feels like. What does intuition actually feel like? Have you ever been in that state of flow and you notice you're in flow, you notice that you are doing your thing, and then all of a sudden you're kind of blocked and you can't do it anymore? You kind of knocked yourself out of flow. So I want to teach you how to notice you're in flow, but then not get knocked out of it. Appreciate it, love it, honor it, and stay in that state for exactly what you need, what you're working on. For whatever you're working on, staying in that state. So how do we do that? So I have a couple things that I want you to think about as we're talking about this. Many people have said that they feel like intuition is a voice. But the truth is that intuition is not just a voice. Some people do get a voice in their mind's eye, or sometimes they can hear something audible, or sometimes they have a thought that they feel like is a voice. And I'll tell you that how you know when you're in flow is that voice is always going to be loving and caring and supportive. It is not going to be judgmental. It is not going to criticize. It's going to be loving and nurturing. And that's one of the elements of knowing that you're actually in flow, and that you're using your intuition and in flow with that. Intuition feels like a soft knowing. It's a gentle knowing. It's an understanding that you have. You can't trace it back to something. You just know what you know. It's neutral clarity. You're able to see 2 perspectives and understand both in a loving, compassionate way, right? It's a gentle direction. So when you're in your intuitive flow, you are automatically going to the next thought and the next thought. So today, right now, is a perfect example. Like, I have my notes on what I wanted to discuss, but I have just a couple words for my notes, but intuitively, I am flowing into the words and the description of what I want to say and what I want to share. So I'm very much feeling an intuitive flow right now, and it feels wonderful. I got to tell you that at the start, so we're outside, we're here, and I thought, oh gosh, should I be doing this? I should have practiced it. Is there going to be too much noise in the background? Am I going to have connection? All of these things. So I almost was going into that mental, what did I call that earlier? The mental override. I started going into the mental override. And luckily I do have support with me. So my husband says, okay, well, let's just see what's going on here. And then once I felt that sense of safety, I got knocked out of the mental override and I got back into flow with what I needed to do. So understand that it will always come around because we are human. We're not a wholly evolved, elevated human that doesn't experience our humanness anymore. That will always exist. It will always happen. But there are, as I just demonstrated, there are ways to pull us back into flow, back into our intuitive state. There's all kinds of movement and noise going on around me, but it's not really distracting me from what I want to share with you right now. In the beginning, before I started, it was completely distracting me, right? So I just exercised pulling myself back in to what I want to share with you and teach with you today. I think this is so important for right now, this moment right now that we are facing as a humanity right now. In these lives, word is spreading with this conversation and this communication. I'm not the only one having these conversations. There are many people that are having these conversations about how do we connect with our inner being and our intuitive flow. How do we speak through, model through, become our higher selves as much as possible in our lives? How do we do this? More and more spread and awakening is happening all around us in these topics. So right now, if you have the voice, if you feel that you have the voice or a message to share in this topic, I completely 100% encourage you to do that, because more and more people are needing that type of support, and it just very well may be you. So I want to encourage you to do that. All right, so going back to my list here of what intuition actually feels like, I have a couple more points that I want to point out. And one is the subtle yes and no in your body. I tested that question in the beginning when I was having trouble connecting, having trouble with my setup, and having concerns about what was happening around me. I paused and I just asked myself, do I need to move? And I started looking around me to see if there's a park bench or something that I can move to. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not seeing anything. So then I just stayed. Shortly after that, that's when my husband interjected with, okay, let's see how we can do this. And I got that no in my body as far as moving, and started calming and then going right into joining you a few minutes early in the live. And then the last point that I want to say, the other thing that is a signifier of intuition working in action, is that we have this feeling this is right. Now, in my mind, there were a lot of signals going on around me saying, you need to move, this is not going to work. But I decided to pause, take a breath, and then that's when my husband interjected to kind of help me out with what the next step would be, right? So then I felt, this is right. This is right to stay here. This is right to connect right here where I'm at right now. So I'm so happy that you have joined me here. And if this has helped you in any way, I would love to hear from you in the comments. Let me know if this was helpful. Let me know if this is something that you face. Let me know if this is something that you have encountered that you're curious about. Maybe you haven't thought about it before. Maybe you're in a state of allowing the intuition when it happens, and then when it doesn't happen, we go into judgment and fear, but then we don't realize that we can actually change the course of that action. So I'm here to tell you that you can actually change that course of action when your humanness comes in, when judgment starts coming in, when disruptions happen, and maybe you're a little disappointed, not realizing that you actually could have done something to change that or to make a different decision. And I'm here to embrace you in that and support you in any way that I can. So I encourage you to go ahead and leave a message here. The last thing I want to say too is that my husband and I actually have started another YouTube channel. We are full-time RVers. So if you are someone that wants to learn more about what it's like to live full-time as an RVer traveling the US, leave me a message here and I'm happy to go ahead and put that information in the chat as well once this chat goes into the recording on YouTube. But it is called Our Unpacked Life. Our Unpacked Life, or is it Our Life Unpacked? Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I'm always confusing that a little bit, but I will put the link in the chat for you if you are someone that is interested in that. If this video helped you in any way, please do give me a like or a comment. It would help so much so that the next time I'm on, more and more people will get the notification to join me live and get the support that they need. So thank you so much and have a wonderful day. Thank you. Bye-bye.